हेलो एंड वेलकम। आज का टॉपिक इंटरनेशनल ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस में नाटो और यूनेस्को। ये दो ऐसे इम्पोर्टेंट इंटरनेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशंस जो यूपीएससी मेंस के लिए बहुत ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है। साथ ही साथ प्रीलिम्स में इन कंटेक्स्ट ऑफ करंट अफेयर काफ़ी बार इनसे क्वेश्चन देखे गए। सबसे पहले आज हम करेंगे नॉर्थ अटलांटिक ट्रीटी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, प्यार से हम इसको नाटो कहेंगे। तो बेसिकली NATO is a military alliance established by the North Atlantic Treaty, also called the Washington Treaty। तो नॉर्थ अटलांटिक जो देश है, ज्यादातर उन देशों में ये ट्रीटी हो रही है। ऑफ अप्रैल 1949 by the United States, Canada and several Western European nations to provide collective security against the Soviet Union। तो बेसिकली कलेक्टिव सिक्योरिटी रहे सोवियत यूनियन के अगेंस्ट। अगर सोवियत यूनियन द्वारा किसी एक देश पर हमला किया जाता है तो नेटो एक मिलिट्री, एक ट्रीटी है, एक मिलिट्री अलायंस है जिससे सब देश एकजुट होके उस हमले के खिलाफ खड़े हो जाए। There are currently 30 member states. Its original members were Belgium, Canada, Denmark, France, Iceland, Italy, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, Norway, Portugal, UK, US. Joining the original signatories were Greece, Turkey 1952 में, वेस्ट जर्मनी 1955, फ्रॉम 1990 एज जर्मनी, स्पेन 1982 में, द क्राच रिपब्लिक, सीजर सीजर रिपब्लिक, हंगरी, पोलैंड 1999 से, बल्गेरिया, एस्टोनिया, लाटविया, लिथुनिया, रोमानिया, स्लोवाकिया। और इस तरीके से स्लोवेनिया, अल्बानिया, क्रोएशिया, मोंटेनेग्रो 2017 में, नॉर्थ मैकेडोनिया 2020 में। France withdrew from the integrated military command of NATO in 1966 but remained a member of the organization. It resumed the position in NATO military command in 2009. Recently, Finland and Sweden have shown interest to join NATO. हेडक्वार्टर्स क्या है? ब्रुसेल्स में, बेल्जियम। हेडक्वार्टर्स ऑफ अलाइड कमांड ऑपरेशंस, मॉन्स, बेल्जियम। अब ऑब्जेक्टिव्स क्या हैं बेसिकली नेटो के? एज वी अर्लियर रेड कि नेटो एक मिलिट्री अलायंस है, तो इसके ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या क्या होंगे? नेटो's essential and enduring purpose is to safeguard the freedom. Its purpose is to safeguard the freedom and security of all its members by political and military means. तो ना सिर्फ मिलिट्री मीन्स बल्कि पॉलिटिकल मीन्स से भी किसी एक देश की सेफगार्ड करना सिक्योरिटी और फ्रीडम को, ये इसका ऑब्जेक्टिव है। पॉलिटिकल ऑब्जेक्टिव्स हैं नेटो प्रमोट्स डेमोक्रेटिक वैल्यूज एंड एनेबल मेंबर टू कंसल्ट and cooperate on defense and security related issues to solve problems, build trust, and in the long run prevent the conflict. तो बेसिकली पॉलिटिकल इंटरवेंशन से जो डिस्प्यूट्स हैं दो नेशन में, दो मेंबर नेशंस में अगर कोई डिस्प्यूट है वो आपसी बातचीत से, आपसी सहमति से, आपसी रजामंदी से सॉल्व किए जा सके, और ऐसा कोई कॉन्फ्लिक्ट का सिनेरियो जो है आने वाले समय में वो रेज ना। Military objectives. NATO is committed to a peaceful resolution of disputes and diplomatic efforts fail. अगर डिप्लोमेटिक एफर्ट्स जो कि हमने ट्राई किए थे वो फेल हो गए, इट हैज द मिलिट्री पावर टू अंडरटेक क्राइसिस मैनेजमेंट ऑपरेशंस. These are carried out under the collective defense clause of NATO's founding treaty, Article 5 of the Washington Treaty, or under the United Nations mandate, alone or in cooperation with other countries and international organizations. तो आर्टिकल 5 इसकी बात करता है वॉशिंगटन ट्रीटी की. NATO has only once invoked Article 5 on September 12, 2001 following the 9/11 attacks on the WT Center in the US. सारे देश मिलकर उसका जवाब देने के लिए एकजुट खड़े हो जाते. सारे देश यानी कि मेंबर देश. अब फंक्शंस क्या है? NATO has an integrated military command structure, but very few forces or assets are exclusively its own. अब इसका एक इंटीग्रेटेड मिलिट्री कमांड स्ट्रक्चर, जिसमें बहुत सारे देशों का मिलिट्री बेस आएगा, मिलिट्री आएगी, पर अपना खुद का बहुत कम एसेट्स और मिलिट्री स्ट्रक्चर. मोस्ट फोर्सेस रिमेन अंडर फुल नेशनल कमांड एंड कंट्रोल अंटिल मेंबर कंट्रीज एग्री टू अंडरटेक NATO रिलेटेड टास्क. All 30 allies have an equal say. The alliance decision must be unanimous and consensual, and its members must respect the basic values that underpin the alliance, namely democracy, individual liberty, and the rule of law. Democracy, individual liberty, and the rule of law are the basic principles that are to be followed by every member. And every member have equal vote, equal say in the decision. All the decisions are taken by consensus. Unanimous. NATO's protection does not extend to members' civil war or internal cause. अंदरूनी मामलों में NATO अपना दखल नहीं देगी. NATO is funded by the members. The US contributed roughly 3/4 of NATO's budget. तो 3/4 जो बजट है NATO का, उसमें US अपना कंट्रीब्यूशन दे रहा है. NATO ओरिजिनेट कैसे हुआ? आफ्टर वर्ल्ड वॉर टू in 1945, Western Europe was economically exhausted and military weak. Western Europe इतना कमजोर हो गया. The Western Allies had rapidly and drastically reduced their armies at the end of war. In 1948, the US launched the Marshall Plan, which infused massive amount of economic aid to the countries of Western and Southern Europe on the condition that they will cooperate with each other and engage in joint planning to hasten their mutual recovery. तो एक दूसरे के साथ तालमेल बना के रखा जाएगा. As for military recovery, under the Brussels Treaty of 1948, the UK, France, and the Low countries, Belgium, the Netherlands, Luxembourg, concluded a collective defense agreement called the Western European Union. It was soon recognized, however, that a more formidable alliance would be required to provide an adequate military counterweight to the Soviets. In March 1948, following a virtual communist coup d'etat in Czechoslovakia, in February, the three governments began discussions on the multilateral collective defense scheme, that would enhance Western security and promote democratic values. These discussions were eventually joined by France, the Low Countries, and Norway, and in April 1949 resulted in North Atlantic Treaty. At the end of World War II, the deteriorating relations between the US and the USSR eventually led to the Cold War. The USSR sought to expand its influence in the Europe through the spread of communism, while the US saw the ideology of the USSR as a threat to the way of life. In 1955, when the Cold War was gaining momentum, जब कोल्ड वॉर बढ़ रहा था, the Soviet Union signed up socialist republics of the Central and Eastern Europe to Warsaw Pact 1955. The pact, essentially a political military alliance, was viewed as a direct strategic counterweight to the NATO. It included Albania, which withdrew in 1968, Bulgaria, Czechoslovakia, East Germany, Hungary, Poland, and Romania. The pact was officially disbanded in early 1991 after the dissolution of the Soviet Union itself. सोवियत यूनियन के साथ ये भी खत्म हो। तो इस तरीके से एक ब्रीफ सा हिस्ट्री आपको मालूम होना चाहिए। अब बात आती है अलायंसेज ऑफ नाटो की। NATO participates in three alliances that expand to its influence beyond the 30 member countries. Euro-Atlantic Partnership Council EAPC, it is a 50 nation multilateral forum, 50 nations की forum है for dialogue and consultation on the political and security related issues among allies and the partner countries. It provides the overall political framework for NATO's cooperation with partner countries in the Euro-Atlantic area. And the bilateral relationships developed NATO and individual partner countries under the Partnership for Peace PIP program. The Partnership for Peace is a program for practical bilateral cooperation between individual Euro-Atlantic partner countries and NATO. It allows partners to build up an individual relationship with NATO, choosing their own priorities for cooperation. Established in 1997, very simple language. I think you can easily understand while I am speaking and while you are reading this. There is no more explanation required other than this. Established in 1997, the EAPC succeeded the North Atlantic Cooperation Council, which was set up in 1991, just after the end of Cold War. फिर आ गया हमारा Mediterranean Dialogue. It is a partnership forum that aims to contribute to the security and stability of NATO's Mediterranean and North African neighborhood and promote good relations and understanding among the participating countries and NATO alike. So basically purpose is kabhi bhai. Currently, the following non-NATO countries take part in the dialogue: Algeria, Egypt, Israel, Jordan, Mauritania, Morocco, and Tunisia. Non-NATO members जो हैं. Istanbul Cooperation Initiative, it is a partnership forum that aims to contribute to long-term global and regional security by offering non-NATO countries in the broader Middle East region the opportunity to cooperate with NATO. कौन कौन सी हैं? बहरीन, कुवैत, कतर, UAE currently participate in the initiative. So this was all about NATO. अभी अगर हम देखें तो र्यूमर्स पर कि रशिया ने यूक्रेन पे अटैक किया बिकॉज यूक्रेन वॉज अबाउट टू बिकम अ मेंबर ऑफ नेटो, और रशिया डजेंट वांट यूक्रेन टू बी अ मेंबर ऑफ नेटो। तो दिस वाज ऑल अबाउट नेटो। बहुत ज्यादा डिटेल इन डेप्थ नहीं चाहिए, बिकॉज इंडिया इज, आई थिंक सो, लीस्ट अफेक्टेड बाय नेटो, but because NATO is an international organization, so we must read it, we must know the objective, we must know the aims of NATO, right? The next is your UNESCO, United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization is a specialized agency of the UN. It seeks to build peace through international cooperation in education, science and culture. यानी कि अंतरराष्ट्रीय पद पे, अंतरराष्ट्रीय लेवल पे एजुकेशन के लिए, साइंस के लिए और कल्चर के लिए सबका आपस में कोऑपरेशन जो है बना रहे। It is also a member of United Nations Sustainable Development Group, UNSDG, a coalition of UN agencies and organizations aimed at fulfilling the Sustainable Development Goals. SDGs हमने देखा था। UNESCO's headquarters are located in Paris, and the organization has more than 50 field offices around the world. पेरिस में हेडक्वार्टर है और 50 से अधिक फील्ड ऑफिसेस हैं। It has 193 members and 11 associate members as on April 2020 and is governed by the General Conference and Executive Board. The UNESCO member states are not UN members: Cook Islands, Niue, and Palestine. While 3 UN members, Israel, Liechtenstein, US, are not UNESCO members. तो इट इज नॉट इंपॉर्टेंट कि यूएन के मेंबर यूनेस्को के भी मेंबर, इट इज नॉट नेसेसरी। ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या है? यूनेस्को फोकसेस ऑन अ सेट ऑफ ऑब्जेक्टिव्स सच एज अटेनिंग क्वालिटी एजुकेशन फॉर ऑल एंड लाइफ लॉन्ग लर्निंग। यानी कि एक लेवल स्टैंडर्डाइज्ड एजुकेशन जो है वो पूरे विश्व में कोऑपरेशन के साथ सबको मिले। Mobilizing science, knowledge and policy for sustainable development. साइंस, नॉलेज एंड पॉलिसी फॉर सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट, यानी कि तकनीक का, नई तकनीक हर जगह विस्तार। एड्रेसिंग इमर्जिंग सोशल एंड एथिकल चैलेंजेस, जो चैलेंजेस आ रहे हैं, सोशल चैलेंजेस हैं, नए नए चैलेंजेस आते हैं, उसको एड्रेस करना। फॉस्टरिंग कल्चरल डाइवर्सिटी, intercultural dialogue and a culture of peace, building inclusive knowledge societies through information and communication, जानकारी और कम्युनिकेशन के जरिए इंक्लूसिव नॉलेज को बिल्डअप करना। फोकसेस ऑन ग्लोबल प्रायोरिटी एरियाज, अफ्रीका एंड जेंडर इक्वलिटी। अब हिस्ट्री क्या है भैया यूनेस्को की? इन 1942, during the Second World War, the governments of the European countries, which were confronting Germany and its allies, met in United Kingdom for the Conference of Allied Ministers of Education. Upon the proposals of CAME, Conference of Allied Ministers of Education, a United Nations conference for the establishment of an educational and cultural organization was convened in London, November 1945. At the end of the conference, UNESCO was founded on 16 November 1945. The first session of the General Conference of UNESCO was held in Paris during the November-December 1946. अब स्पेशलाइजेशन क्या है यूनेस्को की? एजुकेशन ट्रांसफॉर्म लाइन्स। एजुकेशन ट्रांसफॉर्म लाइव्स एजुकेशन ट्रांसफॉर्म लाइव्स मतलब एजुकेशन से जिंदगी बदल जाती है। एजुकेशन ट्रांसफॉर्म लाइव्स एंड इज एट द हार्ट ऑफ यूनेस्कोस मिशन टू बिल्ड पीस, इरेडिकेट पॉवर्टी एंड ड्राइव सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट। शांति, अमन और गरीबी हटाने के लिए और सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट के लिए एजुकेशन ट्रांसफॉर्म लाइफ जो है वो इसके दिल की तरह का। The organization is the only United Nations agency which is mandated to cover all aspects of education. सारे के सारे एस्पेक्ट एजुकेशन रिलेटेड ये कवर करते हैं। इट हैज बीन इंटरेस्टेड टू लीड द ग्लोबल एजुकेशन 2030 एजेंडा थ्रू सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट गोल 4। Education 2030 framework for action is a roadmap to achieve the global education 2030 agenda. Its work encompasses educational development for preschool to higher education and beyond. यानी कि बहुत शुरुआत से लेकर अंत तक ये पूरी चीज कवर करते हैं। Themes include global citizenship and sustainable development, human rights and gender equality, health and HIV and AIDS, as well as technical and vocational skill development. Protecting our heritage and fostering creativity. It is becoming, in fact, that no development can be sustainable without strong cultural component. UNESCO has adopted the three-pronged approach to make culture take its rightful place in development strategies and processes. तो कल्चर को बहुत अहमियत दी गई। उन्होंने बोला कि तरक्की तब तक नहीं हो पाएगी, डेवलपमेंट तब तक नहीं हो पाएगी, और वो भी सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट, जब तक आप कल्चर को साथ में लेके नहीं चलो। स्पेयरहेड्स वर्ल्ड वाइड एडवोकेसी फॉर कल्चर एंड डेवलपमेंट, वकालत करना कल्चर के लिए वर्ल्ड वाइड। एंगेजेस विद द इंटरनेशनल कम्युनिटी टू सेट क्लियर पॉलिसीज and legal frameworks, works on the ground to support governments and local stakeholders to safeguard heritage, हेरिटेज को बचाने के लिए, स्ट्रेंथन करने के लिए, क्रिएटिव इंडस्ट्रीज को बचाने के लिए, स्ट्रेंथन करने के लिए और इनकरेज करने के लिए कल्चरल प्लूरलिज्म। सम इंपॉर्टेंट कन्वेंशंस एंड इंटरनेशनल ट्रीटीज ऑफ यूनेस्को टू प्रोटेक्ट एंड सेफगार्ड द वर्ल्ड कल्चर एंड नेशनल हेरिटेज। अब वो कौन कौन सी हैं? द कन्वेंशन ऑन द प्रोटेक्शन एंड प्रमोशन ऑफ डाइवर्सिटी ऑफ कल्चर एक्सप्रेशन 2005, द कन्वेंशन फॉर द सेफगार्डिंग ऑफ इंटेंजिबल कल्चर हेरिटेज 2003, द यूनिवर्सल डिक्लेरेशन ऑन कल्चरल डाइवर्सिटी 2001 की, द कन्वेंशन ऑन द प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ अंडर वाटर कल्चर हेरिटेज 2001, the Convention for the Protection of World Culture and Natural Heritage 1972, the Convention on the Means of Prohibiting and Preventing the Illicit Traffic of Cultural Property 1970। तो प्रीलिम्स के लिए बेसिकली यू जस्ट हैव टू गेट एन आइडिया, आपको बस याद होना चाहिए ये कन्वेंशंस किसके रिलेशन में है, और मेंस के लिए यू जस्ट हैव टू know these, you just have to learn this. Science for a sustainable future. Science equips us to find solution for today's acute economic and social and environmental challenges and to achieving sustainable development and greater societies. तो साइंस का एक बहुत बड़ा रोल है। यूनेस्को वर्क्स टू असिस्ट कंट्रीज टू इन्वेस्ट इन साइंस, technology and innovation, STI, science, technology and innovation, to develop national science policies, to reform their science system and to build capacity to monitor and evaluate performance through STI indicators, science, technology and innovation. Also, UNESCO works with its member states to foster informed decision about the use of science and technology, in particular in the field of bioethics. तो बेसिकली साइंस को भी साथ में लेके चलना। social and human sciences. So basically, science is an applied knowledge where you can establish cause and effect relationship, or when this science deals with people or society, it is called human science or social science. UNESCO helps to enable people to create and use knowledge for just and inclusive societies, support them in understanding each other and working together to build a lasting peace. तो आपस में उस साइंस को किस तरीके से इस्तेमाल करके आपसी रिश्तों को बेहतर बना के भाईचारा बढ़ाया जा सकता है और अमन शांति बढ़ाई जा सकती है. इट प्रमोट्स म्यूचुअल अंडरस्टैंडिंग among the member states through its intergovernmental programs like management of social transformations, most its youth program and the culture of peace and non-violence program, which includes initiative for democracy and global citizenship and intercultural dialogue peace building. तो नेशंस का आपसी रिश्ता भी इस तरीके से बना रहे, उस पर भी यूनेस्को काम करता है. कम्युनिकेशन एंड इंफॉर्मेशन, यूनेस्को एडवांसेस फ्रीडम ऑफ एक्सप्रेशन and the safety of journalists, combats online hate speech as well as disinformation and misinformation. Disinformation, misinformation through awareness raising initiatives. It also supports universal access to the information and knowledge through promoting open solutions, including open educational resources, access for marginalized people, and multi access for marginalized people and multilingualism and cyberspace. यानी कि साइबर स्पेस में बहुत सारी लैंग्वेजेस जब एक साथ हो सकती हैं, उसको ग्लोबल प्रायोरिटीज ऑफ यूनेस्को, इसमें हमने देखा अफ्रीका. यूनेस्को इज अटेंटिव टू 54 अफ्रीकन कंट्रीज with a stronger and better targeted strategy. The adoption of the African Union Agenda 2063 and the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, paving the ground for African Economic Community and the African Renaissance. Gender equality. UNESCO holds that women and men just enjoy equal opportunities, choices, capabilities, power, and knowledge as equal citizens, equipping girls and boys, women and men with the knowledge, value, attitudes, and skill. To tackle gender disparities is a precondition to building a sustainable future for all. Some important initiatives to achieve the objective of gender equality क्या है यूनेस्को? यूनेस्को प्रायोरिटी जेंडर इक्वालिटी एक्शन प्लान, जेंडर इक्वालिटी टूल्स, जेंडर व्यूज, जेंडर रिलेटेड यूनेस्को चेयर्स एंड नेटवर्क, यूनेस्को प्राइज फॉर गर्ल्स एंड विमेन्स एजुकेशन, यूनेस्को यूथ मोबाइल. अब इंपॉर्टेंट इंस्टीट्यूशंस क्या हैं यूनेस्को के? World Heritage Convention and List. The World Heritage Convention 1972 links together the concept of natural conservation and the prevention of cultural properties. The convention defines the kind of natural or cultural sites, World Heritage sites, which can be considered for inscription on the World Heritage List. तो एक वर्ल्ड हेरिटेज लिस्ट बना दिया गया और उसमें वर्ल्ड हेरिटेज साइट्स को लिस्ट डाउन कर दिया गया. वो वाली साइट्स जो कल्चरल प्रॉपर्टीज है, उसका प्रिजर्वेशन और कंजर्वेशन जो है बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट. The states parties of convention are encouraged to integrate the protection of the cultural and natural heritage into the regional planning program, set up staff and services at their sites, undertake scientific and technical conservation research. तो जो मेंबर्स हैं उनको एनकरेज करा जाता है कि भैया आप साइंस की मदद से इसको प्रोटेक्ट करिए, इसको कंजर्व करिए. It explains how the World Heritage Fund is to be used and managed. Globally, there are 1154 World Heritage Sites in 167 countries. Meanwhile, India has 40 World Heritage Sites that includes 30 cultural properties, 7 natural properties, and 1 mixed sites. Harappan city of Dholavira in Gujarat as India's 40th World Heritage Site. Namappa Temple, Telangana में was India's 39th World Heritage Site. Khangaj Dazonga National Park, Sikkim, has been inscribed as India's first and only mixed World Heritage Site. In 2022, the Union Ministry of Culture nominated sacred ensembles of the Hoysala Temple for consideration as the World Heritage Site for the year 2022-2023. Man and the Biosphere MAB program जो इनका चलता है, it is an intergovernmental scientific program that aims to establish a scientific basis for enhancing the relationship between people and their environments. लोगों का और environment का आपसी रिश्ता जो है वो उसके बारे में चर्चा करते हैं. It promotes innovative approach to economic development and that are socially and culturally appropriate and environmentally sustainable. The World Network of Biosphere Reserve currently counts 701 sites in 124 countries all over the world, including 21 transboundary sites. India has 18 biosphere reserves, out of which 12 have been recognized internationally under the MAB program. तो एक बहुत बड़ी अचीवमेंट इस तरीके से इंडिया के लिए ये बनती है. International Geoscience and Global Geoparks Program. IGGP. IGGP harnesses the intellectual capacity of the worldwide network of geosciences to lay the foundation for our planet's future. Focusing on responsible resource extraction, natural hazard, resilience and preparedness and adaptability in the era of changing climate. तो बेसिकली दुनिया भर के साइंसदानों को एक साथ लाकर और चेंज होती हुई हमारी एनवायरनमेंट की जो स्थिति है उसको अडेप्ट करना और उसमें अपना सर्वाइवल कैसे रखना है इसके बारे में. यूनेस्को ग्लोबल जियोपाथ are laboratories for sustainable development which promote the recognition and management of earth heritage and the sustainability of local communities. At present, there are 177 UNESCO global geoparks in 46 countries. International Hydrological Program. The International Hydrological Program (IHP) is the only intergovernmental program for the United Nations system devoted to water research. It is the program International Hydrological Program. The International Intergovernmental Hydrological Program is the only intergovernmental program of the United Nations system devoted to water research and management एंड रिलेटेड एजुकेशन एंड कैपेसिटी डेवलपमेंट, यानी कि पानी के रिसोर्सेज के रिलेशन में ये प्रोग्राम बनाया गया। वर्ल्ड वाटर असेसमेंट प्रोग्राम WWWP, WWAP, the growing global water crisis threats the security, stability, and environment sustainability of the developing nations. The program focuses on assessing the developing situation of fresh water throughout the world. यानी कि फ्रेश वाटर के बारे में ये रिसर्च करते हैं. It also coordinates the work of 31 UN water members, the partners in the World Water Development Report, WWDR. International Basic Science Program, IBSP. It is an international multidisciplinary program established by UNESCO member states in order to reinforce intergovernmental cooperation in the science and strengthen the national capacities in the basic sciences and the science education. अब रिपोर्ट्स क्या है यूनेस्को के द्वारा रिलीज की गई? यूनेस्को साइंस रिपोर्ट, यूनेस्को साइंस रिपोर्ट मैप्स साइंस, टेक्नोलॉजी एंड इनोवेशन. STI हमेशा साथ में रहेंगे, साइंस, टेक्नोलॉजी एंड इनोवेशन. गवर्नेंस अराउंड द वर्ल्ड ऑन अ रेगुलर बेसिस. द रिपोर्ट इज पब्लिश्ड एवरी 5 साल में ऑन नवंबर 10 टू मार्क द वर्ल्ड साइंस डे फॉर द पीस एंड डेवलपमेंट. Global Education Monitoring Report. Global Education Monitoring Report carries out its assessment of program towards the Sustainable Development Goal on Education, SDG 4, and 10 targets as well as other related education targets in the SDG agenda. The report examines different accountability mechanisms that are used to hold governments, schools, teachers, parents, the international community, and the private sector accountable for inclusive, equitable and quality education. तो एजुकेशन के इन तथ्यों को इसमें लिया जाता है. McBride report of 1980. The comprehensive report of McBride Commission is also named as Many Voices on One World. It analyzed communication problems in the modern societies, particularly relating to the mass media and news. Consider the emergence of new technologies and to suggest a kind of communication order, new world information and communication order to diminish these problems to further peace and human development. Miscommunication is many times seen as the major source of conflict. UNESCO State of Education Report for India Children with Disabilities. The 2019 report is the first edition of the annual report to be published by UNESCO in India. It highlights accomplishments and challenges with regards to the right of the education of children with disabilities. The finding of UNESCO State of Education Report 2021 were largely based on an analysis of the periodic labor force survey and the unified district information system for education data 2018-19. It aims to serve as a reference for enhancing the implementation of the national education policy and towards the realization of the sustainable development goal SDG 4 in relation to education. Target 4C on teachers. Target 4C by 2030 sustainability. By 2030, substantially increase the supply of qualified teachers, including through international cooperation for teacher training in developing countries, especially least developed countries and small island developing states. UNESCO's international prizes are India. UNESCO Madanjeet Singh Prize for the promotion of tolerance and non-violence. It established through the generous donation of UNESCO Goodwill Ambassador, Indian artist, writer and diplomat Mr. Madanjeet Singh The prize honors his lifelong commitment to the cause of peace and tolerance. The creation of the prize in 1995 marked the United Nations Year for Tolerance and the 125th anniversary of the birth of Mahatma Gandhi. Since 1996, the prize has been awarded every 2 years, and since those are though it amounts to US dollar 100, 1 lakh. It is the UNESCO Kalinga Prize for the popularization of science. It is an international distinction created by UNESCO in the 1951 following a donation from Mr. Baijonand Patnaik, founder and president of Kalinga Foundation Trust in India. यूनेस्को एंड इंडिया की अगर बात करें, इंडियन नेशनल कमीशन फॉर कोऑपरेशन एंड यूनेस्को, India has been a member of UNESCO since the inception in 1946. UNESCO constitution requires that each member state should have a principal body that should work for the organization. Thus, in India, Indian National Commission for Cooperation with the UNESCO was commissioned. UNESCO has two offices in India: the New Delhi cluster office for 11 countries in South and Central Asia, Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Iran, Maldives, Mongolia, Myanmar, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. The MGEP, the Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Education for Peace, the Sustainable Development, fully supported and funded by the government of India. India has been elected to the Intergovernmental Committee of UNESCO in 2003 Convention for the Safeguarding of Intangible Cultural Heritage for 2022 से 2026 साइकिल. India has served as a member of ICH committee twice from 2006 से 2010, 2014 से 2018. Earlier, Durga Puja in Kolkata was inscribed on the UNESCO's representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity. So this was all about your UNESCO. I hope all of you are clear on this. इतना ज़्यादा कुछ इसमें समझाने या समझने का नहीं. It's all about your good notes, the good content you get. Right? I hope all of you are clear. So thank you. Have a nice day. See you in the next lecture.